shocks and struts. Visit the shop for details. Then buy 3, get 1 free at Famous Automotive and Tire, servicing every customer like they're famous.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Midway point of the week. Thankfully, we get to put the Cincinnati game in the rearview mirror and begin focusing on the Cleveland Browns. Boy, a big game for both Jacksonville and Cleveland. More on the game in a moment, but did you see the injury reports today for both teams? You want to know a team that does not want to care about your injury problems? That would be the Cleveland Browns, who have been without Nick Chubb basically the entire year, are now without Deshaun Watson. They've been without really, really good players in their secondary. They've been without Amari Cooper, who's now back in concussion protocol and questionable for the game on Sunday. Myles Garrett has a shoulder issue and is not 100%. So Cleveland is about as banged up as Jacksonville is. And yet, despite all these injuries, it's the 8-4 Jaguars and the 7-5 Cleveland Browns in what is a very big game in the American Football Conference. So we're going to talk a lot about Jacksonville and Cleveland tonight. Guest lineup looks like this. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, my buddy Cecil Shorts will join me, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. We'll get Cecil's thoughts on the Monday night disaster, but more so looking ahead to Cleveland on Sunday. We will also get the Cleveland Browns perspective from my guy Scott Petrak. All right, Scott Petrak from BrownZone.com. Scott's my guy in Cleveland. I tell you guys this. You do it long enough, you got guys in every market. Scott's my guy in Cleveland. He's with the BrownZone.com. He's joined me for years, and we'll get the Cleveland side of this matchup on Sunday coming up with Scott Petrak, BrownZone.com, later on in the 8 o'clock hour. But as we always do, to kick it off here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So, week 13 of the National Football League. The Jaguars coming off just a bad loss. Coming off a bad loss in which Trevor Lawrence got injured. And the future of Trevor Lawrence's season was in question for some period of time. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about last year. Think about the irony of what has transpired. Remember week 13 of 2022? That was the Detroit game. That was the game that Jacksonville absolutely got annihilated by the Detroit Lions. Trevor Lawrence got bent over backwards like a lawn chair, and we didn't know where the season was going to go. Until the very next week, they go to Nashville, and they put one on the Tennessee Titans. Fast forward to present day. Week 13. They lose a hard-fought game to Cincinnati. Trevor Lawrence gets folded over like a lawn chair again. And again, week 14, just like last year, there's a lot of questions about the direction of this team going into a tough road game in Cleveland. There's a lot of similarities there, man. It's irony, right? Week 13, back-to-back years, tough losses. Trevor gets hurt in both Week 13 games. Last year in Week 14 is when the Jaguars began their run. Will the Jaguars put it all together again in Week 14 this year? Or are the injuries just too significant? Remember, it's not just Trevor. It's Christian Kirk. It's Walker Little. You got problems right now. Most of these guys will come back at some point, but can you get to that point and still be a viable contender in the AFC playoff race? That is what we will begin to find out on Sunday in Cleveland. But I do think, again, you talk about a bad loss, Trevor Lawrence gets hurt, Week 13. It is exactly where we were a year ago. The only difference, instead of being 4-8 with all that uncertainty, the Jaguars are 8-4. That obviously is a big difference. Everybody's worried about the playoff race. It's very simple. I laid it out last night. I'll do it again briefly. First off, don't even talk to me about the number one seed anymore. I don't care. The Jaguars, as it stands right now, are not in the same atmosphere with Miami or Baltimore or probably even Kansas City. All right? Now, they play Baltimore next week, and we'll see. But when Jake Browning goes 32 of 37 for 354 on you, I can't even begin to imagine what Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Tua would have done to this defense on Monday night. So don't talk to me about being the top dog in the AFC. The only thing I wanted with the number one seed was that bye week. That bye week matters. I don't even necessarily care about home playoff games anymore because the Jaguars have proven, without a shadow of a doubt, 12 games in, they are far better on the road than they are at home. They're 6-0 outside of Everbank Stadium. 6-0. They're 2-4 inside Everbank Stadium. So I don't care about home field advantage. That is irrelevant to me. The numbers speak louder than anything I could ever say. 6-0 outside, 2-4 at home. Done. Do not care about home playoff games. I did, however, care about the bye week, which is probably not going to be attainable now. But as far as big picture AFC South, the two wins over Indy and the win at Houston are gigantic. Gigantic. Yes, in the standings it says Jacksonville 8-4, Indy and Houston 7-5. But in reality, the Jaguars are 2 games up for sure on Indy, and they're basically 2 games up on Houston. All you have to do if you're Jacksonville is go 3-2 in the last 5. And if one of those 3, that needs to be a win over Tennessee. If you go 3-2 and one of your 3 wins is a win in Nashville Week 18, you're going to win the division 9 out of 10 times. Because if you go 3-2, that would require either Indy or Houston to run the table from here on out. They'd have to go 5-0. And seeing as how they play each other on Week 18, obviously one of them cannot go 5-0. So as much as the loss to Cincinnati sucked, and it did, you take a deep breath, you examine where you are, 5 games left, win 3 of them, just make sure one of those wins is at Tennessee Week 18, you'll win the division. Now, unfortunately, that gives you a home playoff game. I don't know if that's a good thing or not at this point. It's probably not a good thing to play at home because, again, the Jaguars have proven they are far better on the road, but they are still the overwhelming favorites in the South because of those absolutely enormous tiebreakers they currently own over Indianapolis and over Houston. More on the Jaguars and the Browns. We'll take a look back at the disaster that was Monday night with my friend Cecil Shorts. He played 7 years in the National Football League. 4 of those years were right here in Jacksonville. Let's look at the injury concerns. Let's look at the future. And let's talk to a guy in Cecil Shorts who played with backup quarterbacks. How does it change for the skill position guys if Trevor doesn't go And C.J. Beathard does quickly. Trevor, no crutches, no boot in the press conference today. It was eye-opening. I would still tend to believe C.J. Beathard's going to play on Sunday, but I'm not as positive about that as maybe I was 24 hours ago. We'll talk about all that with Cecil Shorts. Next, Wednesday night edition, Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you, here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Put some fun in your Monday.
Something big is going down.
Get entertaining insight on Sunday's games all day Monday.
Oh, this is huge!
Tandy Foods Post-Game Monday. Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
The Jaguars are in the home stretch of the regular season as they go head-to-head with the Baltimore Ravens December 17th. This Sunday night football matchup is sure to excite as you help us teal out the stands. It's also our Inspire Change game, where fans can learn about our involvement in police community relations, criminal justice reform, and more. Go to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you for Sunday Night Football, Jaguars fans.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, if you want to add value to your home without breaking the piggy bank, Shark Coatings offers multiple finance options to meet your budget. Like a smaller garage for as low as $45 per month, or a standard 2-car garage around $58 a month. And a 4-car driveway with a walkway is only $82 a month. Of course, each property is unique and our design consultants can give you exact pricing for your project. But here's a way to only spend a little each month for the Shark Coatings your concrete floors need now. Shark Coatings, we're ready when you are.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, Armada, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 6, 1992, 49ers wide receiver Jerry Rice catches NFL record 101st touchdown in a 27-3 win over Miami.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Want even more excitement on game day? Then test your skills at PrizePicks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. Simple. You can turn $10 into $250 just like that. With pro and college basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections from the Specials League. For example, this week I had Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott to throw for less than 281.5 yards against Seattle, and Lakers big man Anthony Davis to score more than 23.5 points against Detroit. Now listen to this. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. Take your game day experience to the next level with PrizePicks. And right now, when you go to PrizePicks.com/1010XL and use the promo code 1010XL, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. That's right, $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480. The Army-Navy Game Watch Party is presented by the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department. Watch on the world's largest screens with a kids zone and free admission or donation. Gates open at 2 for the Army-Navy Game Watch Party at Everbank Stadium.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Wednesday evening, and we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Browns, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Both teams extremely banged up, yet both teams fighting for playoff positioning. Cleveland at 7-5, while the Jaguars come in at 8-4. Let's look back on that disastrous Monday night here in Jacksonville and look ahead to a big game on Sunday with my friend Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. Cecil, how you doing, man?
I'm well, brother. Excited to be on, man. How you doing?
Cecil, we're good. Thank you for the time. And, boy, that was bad Monday night, man. You wait 12 years to get Monday Night Football back here in Duval County. You lose in that fashion, and you get absolutely obliterated by injuries in the process. What were your takeaways from the game?
What can Browning do for you? When Jake Browning is the quarterback coming into the game, and you would have told me that he would go off and light up a Jacksonville defense for 354 yards. And not even just that. I mean, he was 32 or 37. Like, he was on point all night. And I'm not sure from a defensive standpoint what they were doing. It was very, very disappointing to see. Because in my mind, it's like, if you're a playoff contender, come playoff time, if you can't handle Browning, how are you going to handle Mahomes? How are you going to handle the other quarterbacks in the AFC? It's just frustrating to see that type of performance on a Monday night. On the flip side, I think the offense played well. I thought Trevor was playing well until he got hurt. I thought NTN did a good job. I thought Parker Washington stepped up in a big area. But I hate to see the injuries to Little. So, of course, to Trevor, right? And then to one of your consistent playmakers all year, Christian Kirk. So this is it wasn't just like you took a loss on the field, you took a loss in the injuries as well. And you're still, like you mentioned in the intro, you're still fighting for a playoff spot. So for you to kind of have a big win against Houston, you're 8-3 in charge of the division, then boom, you mess around, took a loss, now you're 8-4, and then Houston and Indianapolis just won. So technically they're only a game behind you right now in the AFC South. So with these injuries, so it makes me a little bit concerned, and I'm interested to see how they can bounce back against another banged-up team in Cleveland.
Yeah, the Jaguars limping to the finish line. They need to basically go 3-2 in the next 5, and if one of those wins is against Tennessee, Cecil, they would make then either the Colts or the Texans have to go 5-0 to win the division. Tiebreakers might be huge for Jacksonville because they own them over Indy and they own them over Houston, assuming Jacksonville can beat Tennessee in Week 18. Quickly to Parker Washington. He's going to have to be the guy to step up with Christian Kirk being out now. And I remember talking with you, golly, this might even have been training camp or certainly very early in the year. You've been high on Parker Washington. You liked him a little bit, even 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, so I actually got a chance to work with him a little bit in the pre-draft process. I got a chance to work with him when he came out of high school. So he's from the Houston area, went to a local high school. They ended up going to Penn State, and I got a chance to work with him just a couple of times. I was helping out a friend, and even then you could see how talented and special he was. Built like a running back type. Very similar build to Christian Kirk. Extremely smart player. His best attribute, I think, is his run after a catch ability. But he is somebody that's going to have to step up with Christian Kirk's injury, and he stepped up big time. 6 catches, 61 yards, that tough touchdown catch. He has extremely strong hands. He's a strong player in general, right? Small in stature, but he's a very strongly built young man. And I loved him since training camp. I just love what he did at Penn State. I think it'll translate well in the league. And I'm excited he got some playing time. I'm not excited Christian got hurt, but I'm excited he got some playing time and did well, and he can show his skill because he was just chomping at the bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if he continues that with weeks to come, no matter who's the quarterback, because he is the guy that can really get open over the middle and make tough catches. And he's just a tough kid, man. When you get him the ball, he can make guys miss. He can stop on the dime, and he can really be tough, like a tough runner after the play. So I was excited to see things go his way Monday night.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts here with us on 1010XL. Another good thing, I suppose, is that Jamal Agnew is getting set to have his window opened. He was put on IR about a month ago, so one would think that Jamal Agnew may be back in play at some point to also help with Christian Kirk being out. So you're going to have to kind of piecemeal it together with Agnew when he comes back and certainly Parker Washington. But that puts more pressure on Ridley and Zay Jones and Ingram. Now, Ingram has held up his end of the bargain. Ingram's been great. Yes. Zay has been good since he returned. They're going to have to get more out of him. But, Cecil, it's time, man. Calvin Ridley, let's be honest here. Let's shoot you straight. 12 games in, I think Calvin Ridley probably, I hate to use the word disappointment, but I think Jaguar fans probably were expecting more. 12 games in, and now with Kirk being out, it's time for Ridley to be that guy that we thought he was in training camp.
You know what? I think he's been very inconsistent. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. If he's going to be your number one guy, I look for consistency. I look for a guy that's going to be week in and week out, somebody you can count on, right? And it seems like it's every other week we can count on him, or every 2 weeks we can count on him, or it's just an inconsistent performance from him. And it's frustrating because he has the ability, but he's not coming through. I think it was a big drop Monday night, jump ball situation. He got to come down with that. If you're a number one receiver, you got to come down with that. When I think of number one guys, I look for consistency, right? I was blessed to be able to play with a guy named Justin Blackmon. He was consistent in his play week in and week out. I played with DeAndre Hopkins. He was consistent in his play week in and week out. I played with Mike Evans, consistent in his play week in and week out. You know what you're getting from those guys every single week. That's what a number one receiver is. You think of Devontae Adams, you know what you're going to get. You think of Justin Jefferson, you know what they're going to get. You think of Tyreek Hill, you know what you're going to get week in and week out. And it's not about necessarily the stats. It's about when the opportunities come your way, you're going to make the plays, right? Because some games they're going to try to take you out, right? Some games you may only have 4 catches for 61 yards, but you're still dictating the game. You're still consistent when the targets come your way. For him, it's not consistent at all. And it's very, like you said, disappointing that he's not producing in a way that a number one receiver in the league would produce. I would say he's not the number one. Maybe he's not a number one receiver, right? Maybe it's more of he's a number 2 guy. Maybe he's a number 2 guy. Maybe that's just what it is. But right now, 12 games through, I was expecting more. That's just me personally. I was expecting him to be the consistent playmaker week in and week out. And there's been times where he has big time drops in games. It's times where he's just mentally not in it. And it's frustrating to see because you see the talent, you see the potential there, but for whatever reason, it's not coming out. And it's tough for me to say he is a solidified number one guy in the league when you're inconsistent like this. 12 games in, that's a darn good resume. That's a darn good slate of games where we can make a judgment on, if he's the guy or not. And right now, it's frustrating. He has close to 700 yards.
I think 50 catches, roughly around there.
But he left a lot of plays out there, Ryan, just to be honest. He left a lot of plays out there, and that's not what you want from your number one guy.
I said this on Monday night. You can tell if the Jaguars are going to win the game or not if Calvin Ridley drops an important pass. Every game they lose, he drops an important pass. You think of the first Houston game. You think of the Kansas City game, the game Monday night. San Francisco, it didn't matter. They were getting boat raced. But every game they've been in competition, Ridley has a key drop in that game. It's become a trend at this point. That brings us to Trevor, all right? Now, from a fan media point of view, the sky was falling when he was on the ground and couldn't put any weight on his ankle. And then you see him walking through that tunnel, and you don't know if it's a leg, a knee. You have no idea. Come to find out, on Monday, early Monday morning, or I guess Tuesday morning rather, we were getting word that it's not a knee, that it's not an Achilles, that it's a high ankle sprain. And they haven't even necessarily ruled him out this week, although I think I'd be stunned if he played against Cleveland. But how much of a sigh of relief was it for his teammate, Cecil, to know that it was not as bad as it appeared?
I think it's a huge sigh of relief from player standpoint because it looked like season ending. It looked like something that's going to last a long time, right? Just from his reaction, just from how it looked I'm sure on TV it looked crazy. On the big screen at the game, I couldn't imagine how it looked. And then seeing his reaction, trying to walk off the field, it's crazy. So I know as a player, you feel like, all right, cool. He'll be all right. Maybe, a week or two, whatever, he'll be fine or be able to play and push through. But from a schematic standpoint, I think Trevor is better when he has the option to run. Personally, I think he's better and gets more in rhythm when he can scramble out the pocket or have design runs and he can make plays with his feet. He feels more comfortable when he can play action, roll out the pocket, and he can have that option thrown on the run. So with him being hampered, I'm kind of worried right now coming to the end of the season when you're making this playoff push. I don't know how good he can be just sitting in the pocket going through his progression, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how his leg or his ankle responds and how soon he can get back to – because to me, he was just getting back to his rhythm. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he had 4 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 2 on the ground. Last week against Houston, he went off that game too, looking exceptionally well, throwing the ball down the field, right? And then this week, Monday, 22 of 29, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like he was going and had a rushing touchdown as well. He was getting in rhythm. And then now, boom, this happens. So I'm worried to see how the rhythm that he once had, can he pick it back up and do it again? It kind of limits him with not being as mobile as he would like to be, or just even having the chance to be mobile, right? Because he might just be able to stay in the pocket and deliver, but having that opportunity, if I need to get out the pocket or I feel confident moving in the pocket, or feel confident having a zone read, or feel confident with design run, can I push off that ankle and really throw or move when I need to? So it's going to be interesting. From a player standpoint, you're like, good, I'm happy he's back. But from a coaching schematic standpoint, I'm interested to see how he can adjust moving forward with a sprained ankle.
Final moments with Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver, is with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. Cecil, from your perspective as a former wide receiver, if it is C.J. Beathard on Sunday, again, we don't know that, but if it is, how does that change things for the wide receivers, for the offense, as far as being so used to Trevor and now having C.J. come in?
It changes things for sure, but when C.J. came in, he didn't do bad. It's just, as a receiver in that situation with a backup quarterback, number one, at this point in the season, you know who you're working with, right? Because you've seen him in practice, you've seen him in preseason, and you know, okay, this type of quarterback is A, B, or C, right? And then you kind of put the pressure on yourself. When the ball comes my way, I got to help this guy out. I got to make sure I'm making plays for him, because if he builds his confidence up, he'll continue to feed me the ball and also feed others as the game goes on, right? You want your quarterback to get in rhythm. So if you're a pass catcher, you're like, let me make plays for him so he can get comfortable, he can get in rhythm. And once the quarterback gets confident in rhythm, the sky's the limit for anybody, as we saw Jake Browning do Monday night against the Jaguars. So I think it's just important for those guys to make sure they're making plays for him, to keep him in rhythm. I think it's important for the play caller to make sure they're calling plays that he does well. right? If he's a guy that's a gunslinger that can sling it down the field, great. Let's sling that thing. Let's open it up. Let's play action. I also think it's important to rely on your running game. So with Travis, with Dearness, with Tank, really rely on those guys and then play action off of that, right? The best thing for a young quarterback or a backup quarterback is a running game. So if you can solidify that running game, which has to be better than what it was Monday night, then you're able to open up the offense a little bit and get the quarterback in rhythm. But if you're a playmaker on the offensive side, you're thinking, I got to help my quarterback. I got to make plays when my number is called. I got to get open. And when that ball's in the air, no matter who is throwing it, I got to make sure no matter where it's at, I got to go get it.
You know, it's interesting as we begin to wrap up. I'll tell you a team that does not want to hear about injuries, and that's the Cleveland Browns. They've been without Nick Chubb basically the entire year. They've been without Deshaun Watson. Denzel Ward's been hurt. Myles Garrett's not 100%. And, oh, by the way, Amari Cooper's in concussion protocol. So you want to talk about two banged-up teams going at it on Sunday, yet two teams that are clearly right in the middle of the playoff picture. Cecil, leave us with this. Week 3, the Texans come in here and bludgeon Jacksonville, just a beatdown. Sky was falling, right? Fans, media alike. Jacksonville responded. 3 weeks ago, San Francisco comes in, treats the Jaguars like a junior varsity. Once again, sky's falling. What happens? The Jaguars responded. For what the Jaguars lack in big games, because, look, at this point you are who you are. They do not play well when the national spotlight is on them, and I'll say that until they prove me otherwise. So they are lacking in certain departments. But one thing they're not lacking on is resiliency. When you think they're beat down and they get knocked down on the canvas, they tend to get back up, and they need to do that again on Sunday.
Well, I think it's a little different because you got a backup quarterback. I think it's a little different because you're going against one of the top defensive teams in the league. Like, they are outstanding, their front seven. And they're banged up, like you said, some guys in the secondary. So it's going to be interesting to see, can they, like, for me, it's like how often or how many times can you be resilient? How often can you bounce back like this, right? When is it going to run out? Similar to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? They playing these bad football, staying in the game, they come back and win. And then last week, they couldn't do it. San Fran was just too much. So I'm wondering, is this week the week where Jacksonville, you get your butt kicked against Houston, you get your butt kicked against San Fran, you got your butt kicked last week. Can you bounce back that following week? Is this the week where it's like, hey, they can't bounce back? Like, hey, you put yourself in too much of a hole. It was just too many injuries. Like, what is going to happen? So I'm interested to see, can they beat that team, right? Because you kind of said it. They are who they are. 12 weeks in, just a pretty good resume. Like, we know who Jacksonville is, right? So to me, this is a huge game. This, like, to me, is back-to-back huge games. It may not be nationally televised, but this is a playoff-type game because of both teams, their record, and they're fighting for playoff spots. Especially Cleveland. Cleveland is like, hey, they're not. I don't believe Cleveland's winning the division. I think Baltimore is in the lead in the division. So they need this game more than anything else, right? You're not playing at Tennessee. You're not playing whoever else is not in whoever they play after Houston earlier in the year. But you're playing a solid team that's in the playoffs with a veteran quarterback, Joe Flacco, who knows what to do, and the team's going to try to run the ball down your throat. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can still be resilient, if they can still be a team that can bounce back after a hard loss on the national stage on a short week. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not bought in all the way that they will be that this week, because Cleveland's a team on a mission, because Cleveland got their butt kicked last week too, if I'm not mistaken, against the St. Louis. I'm sorry,
the Rams. Yeah, and they lost 2 in a row on the West Coast.
So we'll see.
Yeah, look, this was going to be Deshaun Watson versus Trevor Lawrence a month ago. It now appears it's going to be Joe Flacco against potentially C.J. Beathard. A drastic change, but yet a very important game in the AFC. Cecil Shorts is our guy, former Jaguar wide receiver, is with us every week here on 1010XL. Cecil, next week, the national TV cameras return. At this point, that's probably not a good thing. There is not a chance I'm picking Jacksonville to beat Baltimore next week. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that, 7 days out. But we will hopefully be recapping a win over Cleveland and try to figure out how on earth the Jaguars are going to go about stopping Lamar Jackson and that Raven offense. Have a great week, my friend.
Hey, you too, brother. Always fun to be on.
There you go. Always appreciate Cecil Shorts for joining us every week here on Hacker After Dark, and it was an interesting perspective he had. I didn't sense the optimism in Cecil's voice this week that maybe he had after week 3 or after San Francisco. We'll see. Jacksonville has proven they can get up off the mat when they get knocked down. They've done it a couple of times. Can they do it again after that Monday night loss? And it wasn't just a loss. It was a loss that included a lot of bad injuries. And now you're going on the road. Weather forecast in Cleveland looks like it's going to be wet, high 40s, low 50s, similar maybe to Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago, maybe a little cooler than that. But again, Cleveland's very banged up as well. So we will see what happens. You wouldn't think these would be two contending teams, yet they are. 7-5 Cleveland, 8-4 Jacksonville. But you look at that injury report that came out today, it's 25 players deep combined between Jacksonville and Cleveland. There are a ton of guys on that injury report for both teams. Trevor Lawrence was on that injury report. He did not practice today. A lot of Jaguar fans were flipping out when it came out earlier that C.J. Beathard was limited with a shoulder. I think Beathard's fine, and I actually think Lawrence is doing better than I thought he would 2 days after that ankle injury. I'm not going to sit here and say Trevor's going to play. I would still be surprised if he played on Sunday, but no crutches, no boot, walked in pretty good into the press conference at least. Now, again, walking into a press conference is drastically different than playing on an NFL Sunday, but he looks better than I expected him to look 2 days after what appeared to be a very bad injury against Cincinnati. What about the Cleveland Browns? What about their side of this matchup? Our guy up in Cleveland is Scott Petrak, BrownZone.com. I've had Scott on for years. He does a terrific job covering the Cleveland Browns. Let's talk Joe Flacco. Let's talk Myles Garrett. Let's talk Cleveland injuries. And is this a must-win for the Browns? They're at home for the first time in a couple of weeks. They've lost road games in back-to-back weeks. They've gone from 7-3 to 7-5. They are going to be a desperate team on Sunday, just like Jacksonville. We'll head to Cleveland. Scott Petrak, BrownZone.com. Next, Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
Turn on the radio.
In your car, 92.5 FM and 1010 AM.
Would you like to drive for a while?
In your house, at the beach, on your phone, at the gym, on vacation, out of town.
Well, everyone knows that.
Download our free 1010XL app for all smart devices.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. Are you trying to sell your home here around the holidays and you think you may have problems? Can I just send you forward, spoiler alert? Call Chad and Sandy today or go to chadandsandy.com, 904-414-6200. Why do I skip ahead? Because any problem you think you have, they have the promise and a solution. It's pretty simple. Doesn't this about cover it for you? They will sell your home, Chad and Sandy, at a price that you agree upon, or they will buy it. That's right. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a lowball instant offer. Well, that promise takes care of that, doesn't it? Just listen to Tanya from Magnolia Glen. I had moved out of state to South Carolina. I was desperate. Not one, but two realtors failed to sell my home in 160 days. Chad and Sandy sold it in 5 days. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 904-414-6200. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Hey, it's Carline here for QC Kinetics. Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year you are getting back to living normal life again. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Give them a call at 904-274-5522. Again, 274-5522. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These are all natural treatments that can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who were able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Again, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. Give them a call. 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics, 274-5522.
The last thing you want to be dealing with this holiday season is a septic emergency. Plan ahead and schedule to have your septic tank pumped out now. Our wonderful team at Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is standing by and ready for your call. We'll get your septic tank pumped out right away, giving you one less thing you have to worry about this holiday season. Check out our reviews online and give us a ring today. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Happy holidays. If you're stuck for ideas for cool holiday gifts, 1010XL's Holiday Gift Guide is here to help. Get great gift ideas from Small Cakes Jacks, Superior Fireworks, and Brackish Vodka at 1010XL.com.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Find out what new golf equipment could help your game.
Well, I'm just a humble golf pro. Could I help you?
Get great golf tips and talk from the experts on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Got to figure out why I'm still shaking the ball.
Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Browns, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Both teams wounded coming in. Cleveland 7-5, Jacksonville 8-4. Two good teams looking to get a big AFC win. With that, let me welcome in Scott Petrak, BrownsZone.com. He's our guy up in Cleveland when it comes to the Browns, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Scott, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. We're recovering from what happened Monday night, just a football disaster of epic proportions here in Jacksonville. Cleveland's not going to have any sympathy for the Jaguars, though. You guys have certainly had your fair share of injuries as well. Before we get into the game, just in totality, 7-5 for the Browns, 12 games in. Your thoughts on where Cleveland is right now?
They're hanging on, but they're kind of leaking oil a little bit. They just went on a West Coast swing or whatever, West swing. Denver's not on the West Coast, but they went out to Denver and lost, and then they stayed out there in L.A. and then lost to the Chargers on Sunday. So they've lost 2 in a row for the first time this year. They're a little banged up. You know, they've lost guys throughout the year. They got Joe Flacco playing quarterback now, and he'll actually look good against the Rams. But, there's a lot of good vibes early, and then as the injuries start to mount, get back-to-back losses, people are starting to get a little worried.
Yeah, we can certainly relate to that with what happened here against Cincinnati on Monday night. You mentioned Joe Flacco. I know it's early in the week. The game is still a few days off, obviously. Is that your expectation, that Joe Flacco will be the Cleveland quarterback on Sunday?
Without a doubt. Kevin Stefanski, the coach, did not name him that on Monday, said he wanted more time. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who had started the previous 2 games after Deshaun Watson was lost for the season with a broken shoulder, is still in the concussion protocol, or at least was on Monday. But even if he's cleared, I think the Browns have to stick with have to stick with Flacco. I think they know that. I think that's the plan. They just haven't made it official yet. So I think on Wednesday we'll find out that Joe Flacco's starting again. And, he's provided a little bit of hope in, these dark times. You lose Watson. Watson had just started to play well. It looks like the Browns had a chance to chase down the Ravens in the AFC North, and then you find out Watson's done for the year. Flacco, the way he threw the ball, his experience, I think that gives the Browns a chance as long as their defense starts, living up to that number 1 ranking again.
Scott Petrak, BrownsZone.com. You look at the beginning of the year, Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. Obviously, Chubb's been gone for a while. Watson's been gone now, so Cleveland's been decimated by injuries. I know Amari Cooper is in concussion protocol. Do we know the status for him on Sunday yet?
No, it's too early, right? It's only a couple days in. You can't rule him out yet, but not a whole lot of guys come back from a concussion within one week anymore. Anthony Walker, their linebacker, actually did it earlier in the year, but it's rare. So I think they have to proceed like Cooper won't play. And then if he does, that's a huge bonus for the Browns because he's by far their best receiver. The other big injury that they have to keep an eye on is Denzel Ward, the number 1 cornerback. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. I think he's playing his best since he's been in the league. He's missed the last 2 games with a shoulder injury. So if they can get him, and they've missed him, his absence has been obvious. So if they can get him back this week, that would be big for the Browns.
Jaguars in Cleveland on Sunday. We'll see what the weather's like up there. Obviously, December in Cleveland, you never really know. Scott, as far as Joe Flacco, he's been there all of about 2.5 weeks. The guy's played, obviously, 1 million games in the NFL. I watched him last week from afar. He looked like he did come in and maybe stabilize the offense. What are they hoping to get out of Joe Flacco if he starts on Sunday?
Yeah, he certainly did stabilize it, and he calmed things down. But to me, the biggest takeaway is that he can still throw it. And, I think we knew that. He beat the Browns in week 2 last year. It's a kind of crazy ending. The Browns missed an extra point, onside kick, but Flacco throws 2 touchdowns in the last 82 seconds to beat him. But then he only played, he started 1 more game after that, or he started the finale. He hadn't thrown a touchdown pass since that week 2 game in Cleveland until Sunday against the Rams. So he can still throw it, and the fact that he can do that enables the Browns to stretch the field. And they couldn't do that with Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback. So everything got squeezed. The short passes become more difficult. The run game becomes more difficult. Teams were going with big bodies, even if the Browns tried to spread them out with, 3 receivers. They were just matched with base defense and big bodies, which makes it tough to run against. So the belief is, with Flacco's ability to throw the ball all over the field and throw it well, it stretches things out. You can get the run game going again. We saw more play action in under center with Flacco than with Deshaun Watson. It kind of took you back to 2020 and 2021 when Baker Mayfield was here. That was more of the system. 2 and 3 tight ends, big bodies, extra linemen, and then play fake and, the rollouts from the quarterback. Kind of like that, the 49ers offense, the Rams do some of that, a lot of misdirection out of the, under center in the play action stuff, which is a different look than the Browns had been given earlier. So the hope is his ability to throw really helps the run game too.
A couple of more for Scott Petrak. You check his work out there at BrownsZone.com. The Jaguars and the Browns Sunday at 1 o'clock. Assuming, again, we're going to go on the assumption that Cooper is out. We don't know that for certain yet, but let's assume that. No Cooper. So, Elijah Moore has been very good. Obviously, David Njoku is a very solid tight end. I know Harrison Bryant's been in the mix there as well. How would you assess Flacco's skill position guys if Cooper doesn't play?
Yeah, they're not great. There's been conversation up here all year long about whether the Browns were a receiver short. But they traded for Elijah Moore in the offseason. They loved him. They thought he was going to have a huge impact. And he hasn't. The numbers aren't bad. I think he's got a career high in catches. He showed up in L.A. versus the Rams, and he and Flacco were actually teammates with the Jets for a couple of years. So they have some chemistry there. They have a relationship. But, there's rumblings at one point where they signed DeAndre Hopkins, and the Browns thought they were good enough at receiver. Without Cooper, it's a big question. They traded Donovan Peoples-Jones at the deadline to the Lions, kind of to create more playing time for rookie Cedric Tillman. So if Cooper's not out there, it's Elijah Moore, number 1, tight end David Njoku, number 2. I could say rookie Tillman, number 3, and then it's kind of figuring it out. David Bell at receiver, Harrison Bryant, like you mentioned. Then you have to rely on the scheme, right? Okay, you're getting guys open because of the plays, not so much guys winning one-on-one.
As far as the defense goes, Scott, it started out for Cleveland being absolutely outstanding, and they're still very, very good, but maybe not as good as they were a month or two ago. You mentioned injuries. Obviously, Myles Garrett is still in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. How has the Browns' defense been playing, assuming they're going to go against a backup quarterback here in Jacksonville in C.J. Beathard?
Well, they've been really good against bad quarterbacks. They made Clayton Tune with the Cardinals look silly. I think they had 54 yards. He's not a bad quarterback. Joe Burrow was banged up in the opener, and the Browns held him. I think Ryan Tannehill started against them when they played the Titans. They had 94 yards. And it's at home. It's been night and day, home versus road, which is kind of hard to figure out because I would think the defense would travel, but it really hasn't. So they've been good against bad quarterbacks. They missed Ward, like I talked about the last couple of weeks. Myles Garrett banged up his left shoulder against the Broncos, played a bunch against the Rams, but had no sacks, no tackles. Now they really doubled and triple teamed. I'm rewatching the game now, and there's a lot of emphasis on stopping him, but he's probably not 100%, and he'd been playing at such a high level, so there's a little drop off there. The hope is get back home, get Denzel Ward back. I don't know if that's guaranteed, but if they can get him back and get rolling again, and even when they played poorly for them, it's not awful. They gave up 399 to the Rams, which isn't good, but it was also 2019 halfway through the fourth quarter before the Browns started turning it over. So it's still good, but it isn't the dominant unit it was, and that's what they're looking to get back to.
Scott, as we begin to wrap up, a month ago this looked like it was going to be Deshaun Watson against Trevor Lawrence. It was going to be a big deal, and now it looks like it's going to be Joe Flacco against C.J. Beathard. But having said that, one team is 7-5, the other team's 8-4. They're both scratching and clawing for playoff positioning. I mean, this is a big game in Cleveland on Sunday.
Oh my gosh, there's no doubt about it. The Browns' schedule gets easier after Jacksonville. There's Chicago, there's the Jets, there's Cincinnati, right? And who knows how Cincinnati will be? I know that's fresh for you.
Yeah, about to say that's an open wound here, Scott.
Right. But they don't have Joe Burrow, right? So it looks like there's winnable games. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, this looks like a more winnable game. So it's huge. You got to get to 10. And it's all about finding 3 more wins somewhere in the last 5 games. And if you could get one and avoid a 3-game winning streak, that'd be huge.
Yeah, Jaguars are looking at this kind of the same way. It's Cleveland, then Baltimore, but then the Jaguars actually finish Carolina, Tampa, and Tennessee. So it gets really easy in the last 3. They're hoping to maybe get one of these next 2 to get to 9 and then see what happens the final 3 weeks of the year. Weather forecast, I know we're about 4 days out, but what's the weather like in Cleveland? Might it be on Sunday?
You know what? Let me look at my phone. It's gonna get into the 50s later in the week. Let me see if it's gonna stay that way. Looks like
that would be awful nice for us.
53 and maybe rain. So not bad at all.
No, for December in Cleveland, 53 and maybe rain. I think the Jaguars would absolutely take that. Hey, Scott, I know there's a lot of Midwest folks down here, a lot of Cleveland folks down here. Give yourself a little bit of love, brownzone.com. How can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the place to go. That's where all my work is. It's posted something about Trevor and Doug Peterson's update. So, yeah, brownzone.com. I'll have stuff all week.
Scott Petrack's our guy up in Cleveland when he covers the Cleveland Browns. Scott, really appreciate it, man. Let's have a great game on Sunday, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, bud.
They say that tape doesn't lie, and Jeff Lageman translates the truth.
I'm your tape translator, Jeff Lageman, on Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Mr. Sparky of the First Coast, your on-time electrician on 1010XL.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
The YMCA provides after-school care programs for kindergartners through middle school at over 40 sites across the First Coast. Our programs focus on safety, health, social and emotional growth, and academic enhancement. At the Y, your child can build self-reliance, get help with schoolwork, explore new talents, and develop healthy relationships with others, all in a safe, nurturing environment. Plus, financial assistance is available. Learn more at fcymca.org.
WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market's been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. 904-777-4477 or visit hairforme.com.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Enjoy a Duval Donkey and shoot some stick at 9 Ball Heaven Sports Grill and Billiards on University Boulevard.
Hacker here, and look, football season is in full swing, and no game day setup is complete without the Sausage Dude sausage. I'm a sausage guy, and the Sausage Dude sausage is the best sausage I've ever had. Try their 4 terrific flavors, including Polish, Hungarian, beer bratwurst with jalapeno, and my personal favorite, the Italian today, by picking them up at any Publix in the Jacksonville area. Football and sausage, it's a winning combination. Go get the Sausage Dude sausage at any Publix in the Jacksonville area right now.
Just like those little holiday snow globes, you better get ready to shake up the season because Toyotathon is on at Arlington Toyota. Right now at Arlington, get financing as low as 2.99% on 10 new Toyota models. And Arlington has more than 500 new Toyotas available, plus every new Toyota purchase comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. Toyotathon is on at Arlington. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Now is the perfect time to make sure that your roof hasn't been damaged after storm season. Schedule a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 15% off your roof replacement and repairs. Plus, flexible financing options are available. This offer expires December 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
9 o'clock hour has arrived. 1010XL 92.5 FM. We are glad you are with us. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You also get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. We'll talk to Leon about the Jaguars and the Browns coming up on Sunday. Also later on, here in the 9 o'clock hour, Toby Bullock, the head coach of the Mandarin Mustangs, as they get ready for a state championship game Friday in Tallahassee against Miami Columbus. In fact, 3 of our local high school football teams, St. Augustine, Bradford County, and Mandarin, all getting ready to play in state championship games. In fact, St. Augustine plays tomorrow afternoon in a state title game against Daytona Beach Mainland. Bradford County plays Cocoa on Friday. Mandarin plays Miami Columbus on Friday. And we'll talk to Toby Bullock, the head coach of Mandarin, coming up here in just a moment. Quickly, Denmark, of the 3 that are in state championship games beginning tomorrow, St. Aug, Bradford County, Mandarin, who do you like the most to bring home a state title?
Probably St. Augustine. If I had to bet one, that's what I would think.
Think about Daytona Beach Mainland. They have a win over Rains this year, a win over Bartram Trail, and they got a lot of transfers into Daytona Beach Mainland this year.
Yeah, it's high school football.
Let's just say that. That's kind of like a Volusia County all-star team that St. Augustine is playing. It's within the rules. I get it. But a lot of transfers into Mainland. So we'll see what happens. But again, best of luck to St. Aug and Bradford County. And we will talk to Toby Bullock of Mandarin coming up in just a moment. As we roll on, Wednesday night edition, Hacker After Dark with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. My buddy Leon Searcy joins us next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is the game right here if they're able to make a play.
The game-changing play.
What a play!
Listen for the performance painting high-performance play of the game.
That's a dime, good ball!
On 1010XL, Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
The Jaguars are in the home stretch of the regular season as they go head-to-head with the Baltimore Ravens December 17th. This Sunday night football matchup is sure to excite as you help us teal out the stands. It's also our Inspire Change game, where fans can learn about our involvement in police community relations, criminal justice reform, and more. Go to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you for Sunday night football, Jaguars fans.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
I'm the Hammer Hayes Carline, and I've been known to drop an opinion like a hammer. Weekdays on The Frangie Show on 1010XL, brought to you by Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters, the golden standard in roofing.
Allentown Mortgage gives you both a fast online application process and an expert mortgage advisor to get you the best mortgage at the most competitive rate in the nation. You can be a number at a big box bank and spend weeks filling out paperwork, or call Allentown Mortgage. Eric summed it up in his 5-star Google review. Allentown knows the mortgage industry. When the big boxes say no, they say yes. The whole process went very smoothly. Get the mortgage experience you want. Go to allentownmortgage.com. That's allentownmortgage.com. NMLS number 103917, 4810 Executive Park, Jacksonville.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
The Army-Navy Game Watch Party is presented by the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department. Watch on the world's largest screens with a kids zone and free admission or donation. Gates open at 2 for the Army-Navy Game Watch Party at Everbank Stadium.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Browns, Sunday at 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. It's a huge game. Cleveland 7-5, Jacksonville 8-4, and both teams have been obliterated as of late with injuries. With all that being said, we welcome in my friend Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Primetime, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, bro.
Leon, appreciate the time. All right, 48 hours ago, that sucked down at the stadium. I haven't talked to you since that game. Your takeaways from what was, quite frankly, a disastrous night in that loss to the Bengals.
Yeah, Hack, it was very disappointing to see the Jaguars lose Cincinnati Bengals team. But what worried me going into the game, a week before the game, is that I don't think the Jaguars took them lightly. I just think that the Cincinnati Bengals had heard all week long of how good Jacksonville was. They were 10-point underdogs. They were decimated with injuries. But you got to remember, this team, just a couple of years ago, they went toe-to-toe with the Titan, the Titan I consider the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they've been in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. They've come close. They've gone to a Super Bowl. So they've got a championship pedigree about themselves. And, and they took it personally that Jacksonville was heavily favored, and they played according to that. And I think Jacksonville wasn't prepared for this team rallying around Browning and putting him in positions to succeed, not only running the ball, but also in the passing game. So, and then we were decimated with injuries. Trevor Lawrence goes down. Christian Kirk goes down. So, I mean, this team is in desperation right now. I mean, the cusp of the playoffs is in their hands with these last 5 games. They've got to find a way to win.
Yeah, it was a bad night all the way around. It's really unfortunate. You wait 12 years for Monday Night Football here in town, and that's the result. I want to focus on the offense primarily, but quickly to the defense. Leon, that was terrible. I mean, Jake Browning might as well have been Tom Brady or Joe Montana out there. 32 of 37 for 354. I mean, are you kidding me, man? And the offense, the running game for Cincinnati did whatever they wanted to do as well. I mean, what an awful defensive performance.
It was awful defensive performance. This is probably the first time I've been very disappointed in our defense. I mean, our defense usually at some particular time was either good at the pass rush or good at stopping the run, or at both. But you watch this game, Monday Night Football, they were terrible at both. I don't know what it was about this Cincinnati Bengals offense, their offensive line, where they couldn't get any kind of penetration, no kind of sacks. I mean, Josh Allen had a sack and a half, but it really didn't play a factor in disrupt. Now, he had a nice interception, but his sacks wasn't disruptive to the flow of their offense. I just think Zach Taylor, the brother of Press Taylor, did a wonderful job of getting the ball out of Browning's hand. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, those crossers they were running, those quick curl routes and slant routes. I mean, they were getting the ball out of his hand. So he did a wonderful job offensively, orchestrating the offense to where he's not going to hold on the ball that long. And then, whether we play man or zone, their wide receivers were just better than our defensive backs. I mean, and Jamar Chase, he lit us up for about 11 for about almost $150. They ran the ball effectively over us, over 150 yards running the ball. So, I mean, listen, their styles and fights, and we didn't do a good job of adjusting to what they were doing. And for the most part, man, they just lit us up all the whole game.
You get Leon Searcy every day on Primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, to the offense, and the injuries were the story. We'll start with Trevor. When Trevor went down, you could hear the air come out of the balloon in that stadium. We did not know, even after the game, that his season wasn't over. I mean, it looked terrible. Now, in the hours and a few days since, obviously it is not as bad as it appeared. We don't necessarily know his status for this week. I would be very surprised if he played this week, but the Jaguars appeared again to have potentially dodged a major bullet there.
Yeah, Hank, when I initially saw the injury, first thing I thought was, I always think knee, because the way he went down, when I saw Walker Little's right foot kick him, and I saw that knee buckle, and then he fell on top of the knee, I just thought ACL, MCL, something just as devastating, and I just thought the season was a wash, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I got to give Trevor Lawrence some credit for his flexibility, because of the fact that it's just a high ankle sprain is miraculous to me, to be quite honest with you. So, I mean, we're looking at, the threshold of his pain. I mean, he actually has something that Patrick Mahomes had to deal with last year towards the tail end of the season and into the play. Well, I think it was in the playoffs that we caused that injury to him in the playoff game, whatever, some high ankle sprain. He was able to battle back from it. So I think Trevor's tough. I think Trevor realizes, what's at hand, how close that they are. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor, he may miss this game. He may miss, you know what? I'm going to say he's going to miss this game, but something tells me Trevor's going to be there Sunday night. I don't know. I'm just a gut feeling. I have no inside trading going on here. I'm just thinking that a game of that magnitude on the Sunday Night Football, if he can deal with that threshold of that pain, I'm thinking that Trevor's going to be ready for that game.
Leon, how does that work? Because Trevor's going to want to play this week. All right, the coaches, the trainers, you got to think about the best interest of the player because obviously these guys, as you know, you did it for 11 years. You're going to want to get out there. You're going to think you can get out there. What's going to be the protocol over the next 3 or 4 days leading into Cleveland?
Well, I think Cleveland is, in the coach's assessment, probably in the trainer's assessment, Cleveland is a wash. All right, Cleveland is a wash. He's going to get damn near 24-hour treatment on that ankle. While he's not playing. I wouldn't be surprised because I was in that situation too. It was actually my thumb. I fractured my thumb and they needed me to play, and I got treatment 24 hours. Nurses came over to my place, whatever they needed to do to expedite the treatment to where the healing can move along faster. So. I'm thinking that Trevor is going to get that same kind of assistance. So it's just going to be a matter of him getting that assistance, letting it heal, getting the proper treatment on it, and then see how he moves and maneuvers. Now, you don't want a sitting duck back there with a patchwork offensive line because you're dealing with a left tackle. Both of your left tackles are down. So the blind side of Trevor, you want to protect. So you just don't want to sit and do. You got to make sure that once he gets to treatment and once the healing process occurs, that somehow he's able to move and maneuver at some factor.
That brings us to the offensive line. Cam Robinson cannot come back for a couple of weeks. Walker Little has a hamstring. I'm not exactly a doctor, but a 320-pound man with a hamstring, I would find it hard to believe that he will play on Sunday. Again, we don't know that. That's just my assumption. So if that does indeed happen, I guess it's Blake Hance, right? That's where you are now without Robinson and Little.
Yeah, you're basically you're dealing with Blake Hance, and I don't know what kind of history he has at left tackle. I don't have any film on if he's ever played the position before, but he's got to be solid if we got a chance. If we got whatever you got to do. To protect your quarterback in this game against Cleveland. I don't know the status of Myles Garrett, but if he's playing, he's a wrecking ball. He disrupts your whole offense by himself alone. So I would anticipate the Jaguars are using match protection or getting the quarterback out of the pocket, rolling them out. You don't want a guy who doesn't have that much experience at left tackle having to go up against a man-child like Myles Garrett because it could get ugly real quick. So you got to configure certain protections to where he's getting help, he's getting chips, you're rolling out the quarterback, whatever you need to do to make sure this offense can move productively. Because if you don't do that, you leave them one-on-one with a guy like Myles Garrett, it's going to get ugly.
Final moments here with Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Leon, Christian Kirk's injury has been a little bit overshadowed by the Trevor news, but we're going to be without Kirk for quite some time. Maybe the rest of the regular season. We'll see what happens if the Jaguars make the postseason. That sucks. I was explaining to my buddy, the Kirk injury sucks. The Lawrence injury, if it would have been worse, would have ended the year. So I think, given the circumstance, the Jaguars have to feel a little lucky that Trevor looks like he's going to come back amidst losing Kirk. But I got to tell you, Parker Washington, that was intriguing to me, Leon. Did he make some rookie mistakes on Monday? Yeah, he did. But he showed me enough to where I want to see a little bit more of him now.
Yeah, listen, this point in the season, when you're making a playoff push, it's all about who can you trust. And, it's unfortunate that Christian Kirk went down because he's been a key component of this offense in the last 2 years. And to be quite frankly, even though the welcome addition of Kyle Ben Ridley, I mean, Christian Kirk is still Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy when the chips are on the table. He goes to him because he's the more reliable wide receiver in my assessment. But yeah, Parker Washington. I mean, yeah, he made some mistakes, but he's gonna have to clean them up. I mean, you can't use that rookie title anymore or inexperienced title anymore because the games are too important now. These next 5 games are playoff games, and there's a reason why a lot of people are saying, well, our rookie class is not getting a lot of reps and this, because they can't be trusted right now. You know, they can't be trusted, and you can't put guys out there who are making mistakes, mental errors, fumbling the ball, dropping the ball, missing blocks, mental errors. It's too pivotal of a season right now with the last 5 games that you can't have those kind of guys in there. But Parker Washington, I mean, he's got to learn on the fly and he's got to grow up fast. He did have that touchdown in the back of the end zone. Trevor was very lucky with that pass because that should have been intercepted. But Parker Washington had the means or the whereabouts to catch the ball and keep himself inside for the touchdown. So, yeah, he's going to have to step up quick because when you lose a guy like Christian Kirk, I mean, you got big shoes to fill.
I'll tell you who doesn't care about injuries for the Jaguars, and that's the Cleveland Browns, because they're without Deshaun Watson, they're without Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper's in concussion protocol, Myles Garrett's nowhere near 100%. Cleveland's been decimated by injury as well. Leon, I'm not going to ask for a prediction because we're so early in the week and we don't know exactly who's going to play for the Jaguars yet, but as we say goodbye, I want to ask you this as we close here. The Jaguars in Week 3, the sky was falling after a 1-2 start, and they responded in London. 3 weeks ago, the sky was falling after San Francisco embarrassed them, and they responded against Tennessee at Houston. And now here we are again. Sky's falling. They lose on Monday night, all the injuries. For what this team lacks in big games and prime time, and they don't show up to those games, I think that's who they are at this point until proven otherwise. What they do have is resiliency. They seem to get up off the mat when they get knocked down, and they'll have to show that again on Sunday.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Hack. I kind of equate the Jaguars to a boxing match. You know, they got good cutting men, because sometimes they come to the corner, they're bleeding, they're out of breath, but for whatever reason, when we count them out, they show up when they're supposed to. So that's a testament. That is a testament to not only the players and the characters within that locker room, but also to that coaching staff. The coaching staff does a wonderful job of, hey, listen, okay, this is not who you are. You address it on the film. You make the critical changes, and then you go about your business of being better the next couple of weeks. So listen, I believe this team is going to respond well to Cleveland. It's going to be a tough environment. They got a solid defense. They got a hell of an offensive line that can run the football. And it's going to be a heavyweight fight because both teams are in desperation. People are saying, well, Cleveland's a desperate team. Hell, we're a desperate team. We're without our starting quarterback. We're out one of our most reliable wide receivers. We're out without our 2 left tackles. I mean, we're a desperate team, too. We've got to stay on pace in front of the division because we've got the Houston Texans and we got Indianapolis Colts lurking.
That's exactly right. Cincinnati beat us on Monday. We need Cincinnati to beat Indianapolis on Sunday now. That would be very nice if Jake Browning can do to the Colts what he did to the Jaguars last week. Leon Searcy, you hear him every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, appreciate it, brother. I'll see you Sunday for the 5th quarter.
You got it.
Bold picks and safe picks.
It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Listen for the Otterson Wealth Advisors risk-reward picks of the week all day Friday on 1010XL. Otterson Wealth Advisors. Your goals, our expertise.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Oh, the holidays. Sitting around the house, sharing stories and relaxing with family. There's nothing like the holidays. Don't ruin your holiday season with a septic emergency. Plan ahead and get your septic tank pumped out now. Duck Duck Rooter Septic Services can be there this week. Go ahead, give Duck Duck Rooter a call and relax.
When you're stuck, call the duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The deal of the year is here at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and right now you can save thousands off original MSRP on pre-owned 2023 models, like a Toyota Corolla LE starting at just $18,881. The 2023 Toyota Camry LE or RAV4 LE as low as $23,881. You can even get a 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road 4x4 as low as $38,881. Shop arlingtontoyota.com and save thousands today.
When you hear a great call on 1010XL,
Telephone communique.
it's covered by the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
If you'd like any further information, just call me.
Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line on 1010XL.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors. With great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or just stop by the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Their professional design consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Eggnog in the carpet, wine on the sofa, dingy-looking tile and grout, no problem. Call Zero Res. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks. Over 5,000 five-star customer reviews. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Winter Jam is looking for volunteers for their concert event January 14th at Veterans Memorial Arena. If you'd like to help, email Skip at loopevents.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
Pace Center for Young Teen Girls has been helping local girls realize and fulfill their individual potential year-round since 1985. To see how you can help change a young girl's life in your community, visit pacecenter.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
And the high school spotlight rolls on 1010XL 92.5 FM. It is state championship week. We've already talked with St. Augustine head coach Brian Braddock. We've talked to Jamie Rogers, the head coach of Bradford County. And Duval County has one school remaining. The Mandarin Mustangs have gone 4 for 4, 4 road playoff games, 4 victories. They are heading to Tallahassee to play for a state championship at the end of the week against Miami Columbus. Their head coach is Toby Bullock, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
Good. How you doing, Heck?
Coach, we're good. Thank you for the time, as always. And, all right, it was back and forth for a while on Friday night, but good grief, you guys pulled away. You win the game going away in the fourth quarter, and you're heading to a state championship game. You must be ecstatic with the way your kids played.
Yeah, it was back and forth for a while. The field conditions were really tough. That they share a field, that's not their school's field. They don't actually have a field. They share a field with Coconut Creek High School. So I got to imagine that grass field's had upwards of 15, 16 games on it this year, and the footing was really, really poor for both teams. A lot of slipping, and I'm sure there could have been some other plays, but it neutralized some of the things we were trying to do.
I don't know, Coach, there's no way to look this up, but I can't imagine there's a lot of schools in recent memory that have gone 4 road playoff games, 3 to Orlando, 1 to Coconut Creek. You've won all of them to get to a state championship game. Just talk about the ride of the last month, having to go on the road every Friday night and win in these tough environments.
It's tiring, to say the least. You get, the last, we got home at 1 a.m. 4 weeks ago, 1:30. I think it was 2 o'clock, and then last week we got in at around 5:30 in the morning on Saturday. And you got to get the film broke down and get right at it. So, the kids have been exceptional, hydrating and keeping themselves where they need to be and healthy. And but it's been taxing. That was the big talk after the game, just how nice it would have been to be able to get in the car and just go home. But now you got to drive all night to get back to Jacksonville.
Toby Bullock, the head coach of Mandarin. Coach, you and I talked before the year, and there were a lot of expectations with your team. We all saw the talent that your team had. I mean, not every team in Florida has a quarterback committed to Florida State and a wide receiver committed to Alabama and DBs, plural, committed to Penn State. I mean, it was obvious the talent that was there, but sometimes, in fact, the majority of the time, talent like that maybe doesn't live up to expectations. Your guys obviously have. There's only 2 teams left in your classification, and you're one of them. Just speak to rising to the expectations and meeting those goals head on.
Yeah, to be 100% transparent, that probably was my biggest fear on the year. I knew we would be in the right spots, and I knew the kids would want it, but could we get it done and make the tackle, make the catch, whatever it took to overcome some things and to be able to play for a state championship. But, as talented as we are, that was my biggest fear, to be that team that, just underachieved. And for the kids to do what they've done. And, we've had some luck on our sides, and we've gotten some good bounces. We've stayed healthy for the most part through the year, and that probably is the thing that people don't talk about the most, is just staying healthy. You got to have some luck with that.
We talk about 2018 a lot, Coach. You were on that staff that won a state championship at Mandarin as a coordinator. You're now at the head man here in 2023. And when you really look at the comparisons, you're running through the city of Orlando out in 2018, just like you did this year, winning road game after road game after road game, and now at the finish line, you get the same team. They beat Columbus in 2018. You guys get Miami Columbus again in 2023. Before we talk about the game itself, there certainly are a lot of similarities, are there not?
There are. I would have liked to have had the 2 home games we had in 18 in the playoffs. It'd have been fun for our community to be able to come out and support us in at least just one game. That would have been pretty cool, and I'd like to see the kids have that chance, but I'll take it any way I can get it. There are, and to start the year, I think everybody kind of assumed Columbus would be the one to come out of the South, and and when you look, I thought that it would either be Apopka, Seminole, Lake Mary, or us to be that team that came out of the North, and fortunately we're the ones that were able to come out and have a chance. And it's a little different going against Columbus. Columbus had never won a state title when we beat them in 18. They'd been a few times, but they'd never won. And now they're back. They're defending. They've won, I think, 2 or 3, and they're the defending state title holder. And so it is different. They definitely are going to have an understanding of the game, understand the situation a little better than we are. And and they to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So it'll be really interesting to see how it goes on Friday.
To that point, your players don't have state championship experience, but you do. You were on that staff that beat Columbus back in, 5 years ago now. What did you learn from that experience in 18 that will help you guide your kids this week leading into that game on Friday?
The biggest thing, and I think it's kind of something that we've kind of leaned on until last week. We have, I think, four of my staff members were on that 18 staff, and my DC was the D-line coach, the linebacker coach. Coach Reed is the same linebacker coach, and my quarterback coach, Coach Harrell, was our wide receiver coach back then. And when we did that run, we got to see what Seminole was like. We got to see what Lake Mary was like, and Apopka and those things. So we have some familiarity with these places. We've gone this year, and so it kind of goes for that this year. We're familiar with FAMU. We have coaches that went to school there. We know what the time commitment is as far as it's very different. You got to get off the field earlier than you normally probably would in the regular season, and so that's something we can practice and get the kids ready for, to not have them thrown off. So to have some familiarity is really nice. It really is. It's helped all year, to be honest. That experience of the venue you're going to, you can show the kids different things and help guide them visually of what they're going to experience.
Final moments with Toby Bullock, the head coach of the Mandarin Mustangs. They're in the state championship on Friday against Miami Columbus. Coach, 4M, your classification is no joke. You're talking about the biggest student populations in Jacksonville, in Orlando, in Tampa, in Miami, and you're one of the last 2 standing. I mean, before we look at the game briefly, have you taken a moment to say, wow, I mean, what a year it's been to this point?
It's a dream come true. Mandarin was the place I always dreamed of being a head coach at when I stepped away from the game playing. My first job interview that night, I ended up coming to a spring jamboree at Mandarin, and just the atmosphere, the talent of the kids in Florida. I called my wife, who was still up in Huntington with our newborn, and told her I wanted to be the head coach at Mandarin High School. And so to be the head coach at Mandarin High School, to be in a state championship, to represent the school and my administration, and just the pride that comes with being at Mandarin, words don't describe it. It's pretty awesome.
You have a chance to get into some rarefied air. I mean, one state championship is amazing enough. Public schools in the state that have multiple state championships, there's not a lot on that list. I mean, Mandarin has a real opportunity here on Friday night.
They do. Coach Harrell said to me last night when we were walking out of the meeting, he just said, so many times you hear coaches that don't even get to be in the game, and this will be our second trip. And that's just pretty cool to be a part of.
Mandarin and Miami Columbus. Briefly, Coach, what do we know about Columbus?
They're the defending champs. I mean, you got to respect that. They're a balanced offense. They have a really good-looking big tight end that I think everybody in the country wants, 6'6", 235. They got a DN that's committed to Miami. They got another DN committed to Nebraska, and I think one more committed somewhere else. They got a safety that's a big-time safety in the 2025 class, and they have a wide receiver going to Appalachian State and a quarterback that has a championship under his belt. You know, he was their quarterback last year, and he's got a lot of playing under his experience. So they're a heck of a team. It's going to be a challenge. You know, they're an all-boys school down there with 2,500 boys, which is more boys than I think we have total population at Mandarin. But they're kind of, we kind of refer to them as a, you know, kind of like a Bowls of Miami, in the sense of, you know, they do a really, you know, what Bowls does year in, year out is win and have a great team on the field. And that's kind of what Columbus is. They have great facilities, great pride in what they do. They have a great alumni base. And, you know, we're going to have to beat all that on Friday.
Toby Bullock of Mandarin. Coach, what's the itinerary? Is there a special send-off at Mandarin High School? How's the schedule look this week?
Miss Bravo gave us a really nice send-off this past week. Her and Coach Rado do a great job with making the moments feel even better. But as far as, you know, us, the Mandarin football team, man, we're going to stop and, you know, we'll eat Chick-fil-A, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing for the last 4 weeks. And we're not going to change anything. We're trying to find a way we can get to Buc-ee's in Daytona before we go to Tallahassee to keep the schedule the same. Yeah, we're not going to do anything different. If the school does something to send us off, we'll be, you know, just happy to have it and gracious to anybody that wants to celebrate this with us. But, yeah, we ain't going to change anything we're doing.
Mandarin, Miami, Columbus, the 4M state championship game on Friday there in Tallahassee. Coach, best of luck. Go get the W. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you so much, Hack.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Toby Bullock, the head coach of the Mandarin Mustangs, as Mandarin gets ready to take on Miami Columbus on Friday. That will be in Tallahassee for the 4M state championship. Of course, Mandarin beat Miami Columbus back in 2018 for their first state title, and they're looking to do it all over again here in 2023. Big takeaways of the evening here on Hacker After Dark. Well, like we talked about last night, the resiliency of this Jaguar football team. I was thinking more about it today. Every time, really, in the last calendar year, you counted them out, they have responded, right? They were 4-8 last year going into Week 14. 4-8. This year, they're 8-4. Of course, last year at 4-8, they went on to win 5 straight games to get into the playoffs. And isn't it interesting that Week 13 last year, the Jaguars lost in blowout fashion to Detroit, a game in which Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Week 13 this year, the Jaguars lose a heartbreaker to Cincinnati, a game in which Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Will history repeat itself 1 year later? We will see beginning on Sunday when they take on the Cleveland Browns up in Cleveland, Ohio. Well, that'll just about do it for what has been a very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys for hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Toby Bullock, the head coach of the Mandarin Mustangs. Appreciate him taking time out for us this evening. Thank you to Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Always appreciate Leon joining us. We did go up to Cleveland, Ohio. My man Scott Petrak of the BrownZone.com. Scott's my guy up in Cleveland. I've had him on for years. Really enjoyed his perspective. I'll tell you a team that does not want to hear about injury problems, and that's the Cleveland Browns. As Scott told you, look, Nick Chubb's been out basically the entire year. They lost Deshaun Watson. They've been without Denzel Ward. Myles Garrett clearly isn't 100%, and Amari Cooper is in concussion protocol, all right? If there is a team that does not care about your injury problems, it's Cleveland, because they have had massive injury problems of their own. So it'll be two pretty banged-up teams going at it on Sunday. And back in hour number one, my friend Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's always kind enough to join us here weekly on Hacker After Dark. Now, this is my last show of the week, getting down to a little R&R for 3 days, down at the most magical place on earth, taking the family down to Disney World through Saturday evening. But I will be back on Sunday for the fifth quarter. That's right, Dave Campo, Leon Searcy, and myself, Players Grill, Miramar. We will be there 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Browns go final, hopefully recapping a Jaguar victory. So I will join you Sunday here on 1010XL. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and I will talk to you next on Sunday for the fifth quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Browns go final. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Travis Etienne scores in Jacksonville. Strikes first. Trevor dives into the end zone. He stuck the ball over the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Josh Allen. Has he done enough this year yet? Wow. How good is that?
Got about a month of football left, and it's full steam ahead.
It's a quick turnaround.
It's really must-win mentality all the time. So, good Cleveland team we're about to go face. We got to right our wrongs.